Good morning or good afternoon. Welcome to the NGIS podcast, co-hosted by my colleague from Google, Nicola Del Mazzo. My name is Adam Mullett, and I am the Google Maps platform team leader at NGIS. And Nicola, let me just introduce him, is the head of ASEAN sales at Google Maps.
Hi, guys.
So today we're going to be talking about what is the pricing model for Google Maps platform. We have had some questions following the previous webinar, and people were contacting us, sometimes worried, sometimes excited about what the future would hold. So today I invited Nicola to come give some examples about what we can expect when we're pricing up our applications and when we are going to create a budget. So I will now switch into our presentation and take you through that.
Happy to help, Adam.
Okay, so on the screen now, you will see our details, my name, my position and my email. Please get in touch with us if you have any questions. There's also my phone number, and I will also be able to pass on inquiries to Nicola where they are relevant. So, as a recap to last week's webinar, if you haven't seen last week's webinar and you still have questions at the end of this one, I encourage you to go back and listen to the other one, because it explains in more detail what the structure of Google Maps platform will be. But as a small recap, Google Maps platform, previously known as Google Maps API, is now going to be aligned with the rest of Google Cloud Platform. So it's a new product suite. It's integrated with cloud in every way, the way it's built. It's in the same team at Google, and they align very closely. You pay per usage, so you don't have to buy big buckets of credits anymore, unsure of whether or not you're going to get full value. Now you only pay for what you use. You can scale very easily. You don't have to worry about running out of credits. You simply turn it on and it will work, and you'll be billed at the end of the month. There is a new brand for Google Maps platform, and there's price rationalization. So essentially what that means is you are going to only pay for what you use, and it's closely aligned now, the value you get and the price you pay. There are going to be 3 buckets in the new world of APIs, and they're all priced differently. We'll go into that later, but just so you know how it's organized, you will recognize the same APIs you see below. The functionality is not changing at the moment, and they're being organized into 3 buckets: maps, routes, and places. The biggest change in Google Maps platform is the end of the standard plan and the premium plan. So you might have before had a premium plan license, or you might have been on the standard plan where you got up to 25,000 map loads per day for free. Now these 2 things are being combined. So you're going to have one console where you manage all of your projects, your billing, and other technical details. You're going to have billing per API instead of having a large bucket of credits. And you're going to have post-paid monthly billing. So you receive a bill every month for only what you use. Next, what I'd like to do is hand over to Nicola, and Nicola's going to run through a few examples of how pricing will look like under the new API. So please, Nicola, take it away.
Thank you very much. First of all, hi everybody. I'm very happy to be in this webinar, and happy to help also in this very large change in Google Maps. I wanted just to summarize very quickly why Google is doing this. Google Maps was created at the beginning as a consumer product. Is today used largely across the world. And with this step, Google really want to make the Google Maps APIs becoming a much stronger enterprise product. So the new name is not a change in brand only, but it's a real rethinking from the basics what is needed for an enterprise product. This, of course, will have some impact in some of your business. So I'm trying here really to summarize some major change in pricing. We are talking today about pricing. First of all, every customer now will have to pay for what it uses, okay, at the end of the months, and we will bill by data that are given with their API key. So implementation of the API key, implementation of a proper billing within the console or via partner is required to access the API. So if you have any keyless or key that are not associated with the billing, I will encourage you to get more information online or contact the partner. We still want that developers, especially, or companies try our APIs and create use cases that can be have an impact for their business. So we allow a $200 free credit per month per billing account that can be used across all the APIs. And this is really a way to encourage any developer to use and to try our solutions. Then every APIs will have its own price, and of course, a volume discount will be applied on these APIs for large users. But there is no more bundling altogether. But each API has its own price, its own volume discount. Something that really changed largely from before is Places. Places is one of the most rich database that Google Maps has. Information about business, about point of interest, about opening hours, pictures about places. So in order to be able to maintain and even increase, let's say, this database, we change a little bit the price of different kind of information you can access. And if you want just basic information, you will have to pay a certain price. If you want more advanced information about the place, then there is going to be a different price. Also, there are some news about direction and distance metrics. There is going to be an higher charge for advanced feature. And this is a little bit the overall, let's say, philosophy of this new price model. It's you use as much as you need, you pay for that. If you need a basic integration, will be cheaper. If you need a more advanced integration, will be a little bit more expensive. And the last point that is very important, free mobile maps will stay via SDK, so in iOS or Android. Can you maybe go to the next slide now? So if we summarize all this, let's start with the good news. Why you will pay less, okay? First of all, very important, there is a removal of, in the term of service, of the different use cases, internal, OM, and asset tracking. All these cases, any cases actually, where Google Maps is allowed, will have the same price. The mobile SDK, as I told before, will still be free. Then you will pay for what you use. So no more wastage of investment if you did like maybe a wrong estimation for 1 year contract. The high usage will impact service by service. So if you use a lot one API, then you will pay less for that APIs. Basic functionality, as I said, will have in general a lower price. And then this will be really an effort, will push, like developer, will push companies and partners to really focus on a very strong implementation that will make the best of the APIs without wastage. Of course, there is also some increase in price. So in the next slide, you will see, first of all, there is no more free usage. So what before we were allowing was an access to the APIs, sometimes without a key, sometimes without billing information, sometimes without information of the company. So now to get this $200 initial price, you will have to comply with the requirement that I said before. Then some APIs will have a CPM price increase, and there are all the details are in the new Google Maps platform site. There is also a deaggregation of volume discount. So as I said, in some case, the usage of a single APIs will benefit some client, but in other case, the aggregation that was possible before and now not more possible will impact some clients. Now we will price more advanced feature, okay? And the last piece, as I say, the Places API will have an higher price if you want to access to the full range of information that we were offering before. Next slide. So overall, I will not enter in the details, and maybe I will take some time after if there are any questions. But the full pricing tiers that are available on our site are actually 2 tiers, okay? One for each type of products. These 2 tiers are accessible for direct billing or via partner. The good news is the partner will have access to higher tier. So for large usage, they will help you to get a lower price overall. Now, maybe what we can do is to give you, first of all, a little bit understanding maybe of Places. That is really like the biggest change. So if you can show the next slide, please. You can see before we had a pricing that was just link about the overall information that you can get for each Places, okay? And there were, of course, two credit given overall. Now, each element of the placing will have a different price. So if you want access to some basic information, you will have to pay $17 CPM. If you want to have a picture, you will have to pay $7 CPM on top. If you want to get the atmosphere, it's $5 CPM on top. And then if you want to get also the contact, then it's $3 on top. So overall, the price will go up to $32. So there is a range between basic information, $17 CPM, and when I say CPM is 1,000 call at the API, just to be clear. And then for the full range of information, you go up to 32. So it's very, very important if you understand what is important for your business. If for your business just a geolocation of a specific APIs, the specific places, and the projection of that on a map is important, is enough, then you will pay less. You don't need the other information. If you are maybe an aggregator that want to show more about each place, then maybe one picture is important. So then you're going to pay more for that. So partner will help you in understanding this and then get the best of out of your business. Let's go in one example, okay? That it can be maybe more explanatory. So an hotel aggregator. So we have a very basic intro first page on page where the customer can start to put like some specific places where he would like to find an hotel. So in this case, you will have a call to the APIs, okay? Places API, and there is also good news here. Before, for autocomplete APIs, there were a price per stroke. Now we are introducing a new concept of session. So you will pay for the full section, no matters how many stroke the customer will use. So this will be much easier also in forecasting how much is the price that I have to pay for these APIs. Because if I know that I have, I don't know, 500 or 1,000 visitors every day on my site, then I just multiply that for every search, right? For every session. Then once this is done, then I wanted to project on a map all the different hotels that are around that specific location, okay? So in the next slide, you can see the prices to do that. Can you just, yeah. So here you will have to call a dynamic map, okay, that is $7 CPM. Then you will have some places details, okay. You can decide how many of these places. And then maybe you want, or maybe you don't want to display one picture for each of these different places, okay. And this, again, it's very important, because if you feel that displaying the picture will have an impact on the overall quality of your app and also on the conversion rate that you can drive, then you should do it. And if not, maybe you will just display the map. And also another example is maybe how Expedia does. They call a static map first, and then they give a list of the hotels. If the customer want to move around in the maps, then he will click the static map. In that case, Expedia will call a dynamic map and offer the possibility to navigate. Then we go deeper. I choose the hotel. In this case, I have different pictures that are coming out and different suggestions. Okay. In this case, in the next slide, you can see how is the different prices that will come out of this. Okay. So this is like a very simple example, but the importance again is really now Google will offer you more options. So with different options comes also the responsibility to understand how these different options will impact in your business and how much is the cost, and then optimize the two to get the best ROI for you. And partner can definitely help you on that. In the last point that I want to stress here before leaving the stage back to NGIS are some really important wedge points. Okay, so as I said before, we have now placed autocomplete based on session, and in some case, this will give you like a better way of estimate your cost and a lower cost overall. Then about places, every field has a different price, and you can get a basic access to the API or a more advanced one with different price. You have to decide what you want. Also, the price of Street View now, it's considered a more advanced feature. And again, if it's needed for your business, then you should use it. Otherwise, you should not. Overall, some more advanced feature, for example, more than 25 waypoints, a traffic model will have a different price. Okay. Then we have a use of embedded APIs behind the dot on the map also will change. And what is important still, mobile native usage will stay free. So nothing changed on this space. I leave now back the stage to you to finish the presentation.
Thank you very much, Nicola, for that very in-depth discussion on what it will cost to use Places API in the new model. So where does NGIS fit in? Obviously, you can buy direct from Google. That's obvious now from the last webinar. But there's still a lot of value we believe in dealing with NGIS. First of all, we understand the old and the new setups, and we can transact in both for a limited time while there is a transition period. This is important depending on what your use case is, what your budgeting requirements are, and if you want to lock in pricing from the previous model. We can also provide advice and implementation on implementation, which will lead to efficiency gains. Now, under the new model, when you make changes to your implementation and you become more efficient, you're going to notice that straight away in next month's bill. It's not something that you would only have to worry about if you were near the edge of 2 large buckets of credits like in the premium plan. Now you will see a 10% reduction in usage, you'll see a reduction in price. Like Nicola mentioned, there is a better volume discountability with NGIS, which I'll talk about a little bit more in just a moment. And of course, the flexible payment options. NGIS can operate using invoice, i.e. non-credit card payments. We can trade in Australian dollars, and we can help you with your annual budgeting and your capping of usage. Just on the tier discounts, if you do not use a partner and you go to the Google Maps platform website, you're only going to get 2 tiers of discount. Now, if you've got a very small usage, that might be okay for you. But if you see the graph that I've inserted here above the with partner, if you've got spiky usage, so if you've got a seasonal change, for example, something dependent on the weather, something dependent on public holidays, and you have really spiky usage, you must consider going with a partner so you can get higher levels of discount during those periods. So if you've got any questions, what I'd encourage you to do is put them in the chat on the right just before we end, and we will make time to discuss them. But there are some important dates. On May 2, there was the announcement of the Google Maps platform. That's already clear. June 11 is when the new pricing begins and unkeyed requests begin to fail. There is a grace period up to the 11th of August, at which all unkeyed requests will just simply no longer work. Between June 11th and August 11th, you'll receive warnings and notifications that you need to change that. And we highly recommend that you check all of your implementations of Google Maps to ensure that when August 11 hits, you do not experience an outage. And then, of course, September 2018, it is the end of the old premium plan sales period, and everyone will go onto the new Google Maps platform. So again, if you've got any questions, please type them in the panel on the right, and Nicola and myself will be available to answer them currently. If you want to learn more, get in touch with our team. We've got 5 people who are fully educated on the new Google Maps platform. And we also have a dynamic FAQ. So that is changing as we go. As we receive questions, we're updating our FAQ on our website so it becomes more and more valuable for our clients. You can also get in touch with us if you don't have the phone number from the first slide by simply going to our website and going to the Contact Us page. So that ends the presentation. And now we are available for a few minutes to answer any questions that you might have. If you've got any, go out of full screen mode and write them in the chat panel on the right. Okay, I've got one here from CRM Map. I'm sure you've answered this, but our perm finishes in November. Does this stop at September? No. If you are on the premium plan from before, you will see out the remainder of your contract with the same conditions as what you signed up for. So if you sign up for 12 months today, you will still have the same conditions and the same billing all the way through until next year. Once you finish on that contract, then you will automatically be transitioned onto the new Google Maps platform. If your contract finishes between now and September, you will be put onto what's called a bridging license, which gives you the same conditions as the old license, but for a smaller amount of time, just a number of months instead of a year. We've got a question here. Is there additional costs going through NGIS? No, there is not. In fact, as mentioned before, we could even end up saving you money by having access to the better billing tiers, but even at the lower end, there is no change in price for the customer. Nicola, is there anything you wanted to add on that one?
No, you were very good.
Thank you. Essentially, what we like to say, Ellie, is that for you as the customer, it doesn't cost you more to go through us as a partner, but you get a lot more value. We provide regular reports. We look at your usage and give you advice and can suggest better use cases that'll suit your business through the things like emails, user groups, but also through strategy sessions that we can actually run at your office.
Yeah, I might add something. It's really in the philosophy of Google Cloud in general, but Maps even more, to build a very strong partner ecosystem. We have very good solutions, but sometimes client doesn't have the resources to implement this solution in the best way. So we create incentive for partners that to go and try to help these clients, right? So this is why, as you were saying, the price is the same or even better, because we really want that the customer can benefit at the best of our technology. They are satisfied and they use it more to serve the final users.
Okay, we'll give it a few more seconds just to see if there's any more questions. Otherwise, we will end the podcast, the webinar there. Okay, it seems like there are no more questions. So I'd like to thank very much Nicola from Google for joining us and for explaining the nitty-gritty of how Places is going to be built. It's a really exciting change, but it's also going to be a little bit confusing at the beginning while we learn how to price it for our applications. So thank you very much, Nicola, for coming on.
No problem, anytime.
And if for those of you watching, if you've got any questions, get in touch, and where relevant, I will pass it on to Nicola as well. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.